Assad fled Syria for Russia on December 8 last year as rebel forces seized Damascus after more than 10 years of war. Assad has lived in exile since, granted asylum by Vladimir Putin, but not much is known about his new life. He and his wife Asma reportedly live in a luxury unit in Moscow under strict Russian supervision with banned public appearances, limited movements and no political activity at all. Occasionally there's an update. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights claimed a few months ago that Assad was hospitalised after a suspected poisoning, a claim that was denied by the Kremlin. New President Ahmad Sharawi wants Assad extradited for trial, but Moscow won't hand him over. So joining us live for this and more is the Foundation of Defence of Democracy research analyst Ahmad Sharawi. Good to see you, Ahmed. So I read, through second-hand sources, that Assad's playing video games at home in Moscow. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But what else is he doing? Do we know?
First of all, pleasure to be here. As you correctly stated, Bashar al-Assad has been banned from expressing any political views or making any statements, and that was a condition made by the Russians in order to give him asylum. So what we know as of now, and that's also according to second-hand reporting, is that Bashar al-Assad is keeping to himself and is not dealing with anything in Syria. It's actually individuals within his inner circle that are trying to fund and operate groups that are currently present in Syria in order to undermine the new government led by Ahmad Sharawi.
So does Assad have a job? Does he get out to restaurants? Have you picked up any detail on his movements?
To my knowledge, and according to open source reporting, I think what we know is that he lives in a building that has a shopping mall on its ground floor. And that's also based on this German report that claims that he's playing video games. Yeah. But I haven't seen any public sightings of the former Syrian president.
Well, he probably doesn't need a job, right? He's incredibly wealthy. Do you know what his worth is valued at? I mean, there are reports that range from hundreds of millions to billions even.
Absolutely, and some of the planes that traveled with him on the night that he left Damascus were filled with money and gold. And he was rushed when he left. So I don't think he took all his money and assets, but I think he has enough. And I mean, he also maintained bank accounts in Russia during the civil war, and I'm sure he still maintains those accounts and is using them.
Was he funneling money to Russia? I mean, did that? I mean, it sounds like that could well be true.
Absolutely. I think after all the sanctions that were imposed on him following the start of the civil war, he managed to funnel money outside of Syria, and I think Russia was a top destination, knowing that it might be a site of refuge if his regime were to collapse, and that's exactly what happened.
So presumably Moscow is coming out well from their relationship too, and those expenses. So do we read into that as to why Moscow just won't give him up, despite the hopes of the new administration in Syria?
So there's that, and there's also the perception that if Moscow gives up a former ally, then almost all its supporters in different countries around the world will become anxious and start thinking about the relationship with Russia. But also, I think there's a deal to be struck between the new Syrian government and the Russians when it comes to Bashar al-Assad, especially because the Russians still have an interest in Syria, and that's maintaining two bases in the Syrian coast that really help Russia's operations in the Eastern Mediterranean and Africa.
There you go. Interesting. Ahmed, appreciate your time. Thank you. We'll chat to you again soon.